Gallery. And Mike, we always appreciate you making time for us. How you doing today?
Doing great, guys. What's going on?
Oh, that's what we're about to find out. Asking you a whole bunch of questions, Mike, about the offseason here and what's going on. Yeah. We were just talking about the awards, so I'll start there with you. Pro Football Writers named PS2 the Defensive Player of the Year. Does that make it a lock that he is the AP Defensive Player of the Year?
Yeah, I think so. And he got the Kansas City 101 Defensive Player of the Year. I guess that was just the AFC. So many awards out there, they kind of get diluted. But the big one is the AP, which will be announced the Thursday before the Super Bowl in New Orleans at their honors program. But I think it is Pat Surtain's year, in part because they're the guy who had the big sack. They usually give it to the sack guy, the edge rushers.
Yeah.
TJ Watt's getting double and triple team now, so he's not having the numbers. And Trey Hendrickson had a big year, but it was for a team that didn't make the playoffs. So I think the fact that Surtain's team made the playoffs, not a big year for the sack guys, and Surtain having a big year, I think it'll be Surtain.
Okay, nice. Mike, you just tweeted out earlier, #9sports at Mike Klis 9 News. You said, Bears and Darren Rizzi not expected to happen. Rizzi in play with the Saints and possibly the Raiders. Has other special teams options. All right, what's the latest there, Mike?
I think it's looking pretty good for the Broncos. For one thing, Rizzi is a high price ticket item. He was, from what I understand, he's the highest paid special teams coordinator with the Saints. And if the Saints don't keep him, he would, he would he's going to have options. Ben Johnson and him are close, but the Bears don't have the budget, from what I understand, the coach's budget, to make it happen with them. And and as we know, Greg Penner, the budgets is never a problem where they can spend. So I think Rizzi's going to wind up here. We'll see. I guess he's in play with the Saints still. I still think it's a long shot. The Raiders, I think it's a long shot. But he's not going. He's going to play out those options before he takes a job with the Broncos. And the Broncos still have to go through the Rooney Rule and those kind of things and interview other candidates before they decide on Rizzi, or, at least make it official.
Talking with our buddy Mike Klis, joining us every single Thursday. We'll keep it there with possible exits from the Broncos. Darren McGhee, he's having his second interview with the Jets. How real do you think that is, and how big of a loss would it be for the front office?
Yeah, it's Muji, and it is real. I think he's got a real shot there.
Wow.
The Washington Commanders, I can't remember his name, but their second in command was in Tuesday, and everybody had him getting the job. But after his interview Tuesday, it went so well, they brought in two more candidates. So that tells you something. I think Muji's the guy to beat now, and he's there right now interviewing. He really impressed Woody Johnson with his first interview. It was in West Palm Beach. It was at Woody Johnson's off-season home in West Palm Beach. And he really impressed the Jets brass there. I thought he was a long shot going in. He was one of 15 candidates. He didn't interview anywhere else. And really, this was the first time he ever interviewed for a GM job. And boy, you talk about pulling off an upset. I think he's on the verge of doing it. And as far as how big a loss it is, it's big because he's been George Payton's right-hand man, and they've worked well together for, the last 4 or 5 years. He's been with the organization for 13 years, worked his way up from scouting intern, which means he knows every facet of the personnel department. I mean, he incrementally moved his way up. He's kind of an old school GM if he gets the job, where, he worked his way up from scouting. and he knows talent. He knows how to evaluate talent. He's a real good people person, which I think the Jets need.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a loss for the Broncos building if he leaves. So they got Cody Rager in a year ago from the Saints.
Right.
And, he would be, no doubt about it, the second in command with George Payton, and whether they fill that position if Muji leaves, I'm not sure. We'll have to ask about that if Muji does indeed get the job.
All right, Mike, you're going shopping with the Broncos credit card in the draft in round 1. Do you want a tight end or do you want a running back?
Well, whichever's the better. If Warren's still there at 20 and Genty's not, you go Warren. If Genty's there, you take him. So I think maybe both of them will be gone by 20. So you take at those two positions, you take the best guy that's on your board left is how you work it out. But running back, tight end, inside linebacker, I think they might take care of that in free agency. And they have Drew Sanders coming back also, who moved to inside linebacker at the end of the season. Alex Singleton coming back from ACL. So I think you might go maybe you double up. You free agent, stopgap inside linebacker, and you draft one. But there's no doubt the top three needs are in order: running back, inside linebacker, and then tight end. So inside linebacker I'd put ahead of that joker position at tight end. But those are the top three for sure, and then receiver somewhere after that.
Yeah, I actually wanted to ask you about receiver because I read your piece about it yesterday at 9news.com talking about the position. And I think the question is, what's the best plan there? Do they have to go get a proven player in free agency so he can help right now with Bo Nix? Or as they've shown with Marvin Mims, yeah, he can contribute, but it took like a year and a half for him to really become a contributing member of the team as a wide receiver. So what's the approach there to give Bo help right away?
Yeah, I'm going to be surprised if they go big ticket at receiver in free agency. Sean Payton he's never quite gone there, and they got the Courtland Sutton. If anybody gets a big ticket, it's going to be Courtland Sutton. Extending him by a couple of years, which you would think you would do that, right? You just think you would do that with him, and. But we'll see. If Courtland wants $30 million a year, that's probably not happening. If they can get it in the 20 to 25 range, maybe they can work something out there. But it's going to be an interesting situation with Courtland this offseason. He showed last year OTAs. Who needs stinking OTAs, right? And so that could be the same type of deal. But I do think they need a receiver who can run. Troy Franklin is still, like you said, coming on. Do you trust him in year two to make that leap? That's a leap of faith. And then Marvin Mims. Marvin Mims seems to be the type of guy who can run, but he's not a route tree guy. And so maybe they need a route tree guy who can run. And if there's one available in free agency, I'd be surprised if it's Tee Higgins, in other words. Maybe, but I'd be surprised.
All right, Mike. Well, great stuff, man. We always look forward to having you on the show, picking your brain on all things Broncos. And we appreciate you giving us a heads up and being flexible on your time. Thanks, man.
All right. Thanks, guys.
There he goes. Mike Klis with us every single Thursday. Like I said, usually around 1:15, but I had to call an audible right there.
All he does is drop some hints.
Yes, he does.
They might take care of inside linebacker v free agency.
Mm-hmm.
I've pulled up the names. And, yeah, they might be looking for wide receiver. And who could that be?
Yeah, and he helped your case there. Said, hey, Tee Higgins probably not the ticket they're looking to sign. Mike's always with us thanks to our friends at Fitness Gallery. That's